Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. What a guest I have for you today, because with me is someone who has went to Michigan State University and done very well in theater there. In fact, he's done so well that he was nominated for the Pulsar Award in one of the films there, musical Dogfight, where he played the lead role of Eddie Birdlace. In fact, this was so inspiring for him that he has gone on to do even more than that and landed in his sophomore year there a supporting role of Vince in a feature film called Sorta Late. And this was really kind of interesting because it ended up premiering in the Traverse City Film Festival in 2016. So what has happened since then has been an ongoing series of things that has caused him to just been drawn further and further into the film industry. And what has happened since then has landed him in some background work and actually got him to have a lead role in a film. And I'm going to let him share that with you, and also produce a film. So there's more going on with that. And I'd like him to share, even though, as you know, oftentimes I know a whole lot more than what I'm sharing with you, because I want the person to share it themselves. So with me today, I have actor-producer Patrick Harney with me. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Thank you very much for having me, Rebecca.
I am really delighted because oftentimes you see people that are interested in going into acting or going into the film industry or going into theater, and that's kind of where they stay. They kind of stagnate. They get there, they don't know what to do, or they just don't pursue the passion the way that they should. And you have gone from finding this passion with you, especially when you were in college, to where it's at now. But did you have this passion before that?
I did. Well, first of all, I just want to say that intro, I mean, if you could just come with me everywhere, that was fantastic. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, so my passion started probably, I think it was about 8th grade, when a friend of mine had told me, because before I was always the sports guy. I played basketball, football, baseball, ran track. I was always a sports guy. And then a friend of mine had told me, hey, why don't you go out for the musical? Like, I know you can sing. Why don't you just go out for the musical? And I said, no, I'm not really, I don't really want to do that. But she kept bugging me and kept bugging me and kept bugging me. And thank God she did, because finally, just to appease her, and then even a couple of my other friends had joined in, I was like, all right, fine, I'll try out. And just to give you an idea of how little I cared, really, I auditioned with the song Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Like, really just didn't care at all. And then the director offered me one of the lead roles in the show.
I have chills.
And I was like, whoa, okay, this isn't exactly what I was hoping for. But I thought that my out would be, oh, well, they rehearsed during basketball season, so I can't do it. I got basketball, I can't do it. And then she said that she would work with that. She'd be willing to work with that if I'd be willing to work with it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I tried it, and I absolutely loved it. And then from that year on, I did the musical every single year. And we did shows like, and this was at my high school. So it was Hazlitt High School. We did shows like The Wizard of Oz. We did Damn Yankees, Kiss Me Kate, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I mean, we did some really, really great shows. And so then from then on, my freshman year of college, like you had mentioned, I did Dogfight, which was at a local community theater. And that was a lot of fun. But at that point, I kind of had enough with the stage, and I wanted to more so try film, because I knew I always wanted to get into film. And so that's when I kind of skated over to doing Sorta Late. That was my first film experience. And it was funny because I remember my freshman year of college, I actually, this was when Batman versus Superman was being filmed at MSU. I wanted to be an extra. I was like, well, I live on campus. This is perfect. Let me be an extra.
Right.
And then they emailed me back saying, unfortunately, thank you for submitting, but unfortunately we can't have somebody taller than both Batman and Superman in the scene. So,
what?
yeah. So, cause I'm 6'4". So, so yeah, so that was kind of a bummer, but it was funny. And what's funny enough is one of my co-stars in a film that I've done that I know we'll talk about more, Scapegoat, is actually in Batman versus Superman. Mason Hydra, he plays a police officer, and he has a pretty good role in that. So there was still some sort of a connection between that and Batman versus Superman. But yeah, so ever since then I've been pushing and pushing for film and television, and I'm kind of diving into multiple roles in terms of producing, and I've started to write a little bit as well, and and I'm sure at some point I'll direct at some point, but that's not even close to right now. But yeah.
But you've been progressing just the way it's kind of like you're supposed to, because when you go from one part of the industry and you are leading up to things, you get to learn every part of the understanding the film industry in itself. And when you get to the hierarchy, if you will, you can really identify with what needs to be done and how the actor or the extra or every part of it, that person on the other side feels. So you can really be very good at what you do in those other roles. And I think that this is really ideal for you because you have it. And so what is another aspect of this from the very beginning, and this is what I really want to share with the audience, is listen to the people who support you, because people see things in you sometimes that we might know that it's there, but we don't really act upon it, or we don't want to sort of ruffle our feathers and make us look a certain way because we don't want people to perceive that we think certain things about ourselves. But those talents and those abilities that people see and support us through, we want to listen to those things because they can take us to heights that we never, ever thought we would pursue and go to. And here you are doing that exact thing. And so I want to talk to you about Scapegoat for a minute, because here you are, you've got something that's getting ready to launch pretty big. And this is something that you've been working really hard at. So can you share, I know there's things that you can't share, but can you share with us some things about this role that you're in and a little bit about the film that you are allowed to share?
Yeah. So what I can say about the film is, I kind of give you an overview of what the story's about, but it's about this group of people that they all wake up in the middle of the woods. They don't know how they got there. They're all wearing the same clothing. They each have a marking on their arms. Some of them know each other, some of them don't. And they come to understand that there is some sort of connection between all of them. However, while they're trying to figure that out, they're being hunted at the same time. So it's there's some great action in it. There's some great fight scenes, and there's some comedy in it, and there's a lot of aspects that'll make you think and like really think about, kind of make you look inside yourself a little bit.
I like that.
But yeah, we started filming it. It's been a hard go at it, but in a good way. We filmed it, and in the post-production process, we've had some bumps along the way, which is to be expected for a film. But but we had a private screening for it, just as kind of like the first cut of the movie. We had a private screening just to see, get some people's reactions and get some of their thoughts. And so we sold out of the first show in under 18 hours.
No
and that was
kidding.
And that was 160 people. But we actually oversold, so we had to add a second show, and then we sold out of that show within about 5 days after that. So we had about 330 people come that night to see the movie, and and we got some great reactions from people. I'm really, really excited for it to come out. There are a couple changes that we've made since then, just to polish things up, and or some ideas that we had in terms of the editing that might fit better. But yeah, I'm really excited for it to come out. The director and the writer is Jeff Kapp, with Vigilant Entertainment, and then Shane Shansky's one of the producers as well. And it was just a great cast. I mean, we had Mason Hyger, Heath Satoris, Alyssa Caswell. Well, now Topolinsky, she just got married. Katie Dufort, yeah, it's been a great ride for it, and I'm really excited for it to finally get out there for people to have access to all the time. So
this is exciting. I'm just with what you've shared alone now, because you can read certain things. What you've shared now, I'm like, okay, I want to just stop what I'm doing and go check this out, because this is not only going to be entertaining, but there's going to be, what you said, things that are going to make me think. And so for me, and I know a lot of people like that, they want to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking for, I know what's going to happen. And then there's these twists that don't really allow you to figure it out. But if there's other things in it that allow you to think about application within yourself, this is pretty well written in that respect, because to be able to condense something into an hour and a half or a 2-hour
mm-hmm.
film and convey all of these things and have held the audience, that is pretty good.
Well, and also what's cool about it is, this is Jeff Kapp's first feature film. And so typically with first films for directors or whatever, or writers, they're generally pretty garbage, because they're, just learning and, kind of going through the growing pains. But this movie is like, it's phenomenal. Really. I mean, I think it's really, really well done, and it's really well written. Because he was very focused on making sure that certain aspects were done right, even if it means it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's got to be done right. And so like that kind of detail is what I really appreciate. And I also really appreciated that he was a very collaborative director. He and I kind of hit it off pretty quickly. And so on set, I'm a guy that likes to improv. I like to kind of play around with the script and play around with the words, and just because that's what my background, that's what I grew up doing, and so he, we'd be on set, and he would be, he'd come over and he'd tell me, all right, so we're gonna do 6 takes. Just make sure you get one that has the words, like the words that are on the page. Every other take, just go ahead and try stuff. Just go ahead and try it, and we'll see and we'll see what we come up with. And that was awesome to me. And there'd be times where I'd go up to him and I'd say, "Hey, do you mind if I, can I try this in the scene?" And sometimes he would say, "Yeah, that's great," or he would be like, "No, not for this one. But, let's kind of keep that one out." I'd be like, "Okay, that's great," because I've been on sets where it's very much stick to the script, and it's 100% every single word in the order, everything is correct or has to be correct, which is fine, and that's what some directors and some writers prefer. But I've found for myself that can kind of constrict me a little bit.
Yes, but
it also helps kind of open up my mind a little bit to figure out, okay, how can I work within these words, So with this project, especially with it being my first lead in a feature film, that was a great gift to be able to have in a director.
Most definitely. I mean, that's really, in essence, a lot of things. I mean, to be first and flexible, you've got a lot there. And so you've done some other things too. You were in a pilot, Sindricus. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Electron Blade. It's a sci-fi project that that right now it's insane because the 98% of the world that you see, even in the trailer on YouTube, 98% of what you see is all CGI, and it's all manufactured by one guy. Literally,
No
one
kidding.
guy. One guy is doing it all. His name is Tommy Kraft. The dude is a wizard with his skills, and obviously all the people are real, but yeah. So I got to play this character named Sindricus, who you could say he's a philosophical stoner. He doesn't really he doesn't speak much, but when he does, it's he's got something to say, you know.
Okay.
And yeah, and that's a very, very fun character to play. So so the pilot is being finished right now in terms of all the CGI work, and everything's filmed, but all the CGI work and everything's being finished. And then TK2 Films, so Callie Bustle and Tommy Kraft, they're gonna look to try and get it picked up, and that's always the hardest part. You know, you could put hours and hours and months into something, and then trying to get it picked up, that's a whole nother beast. So so yeah, so hopefully we can get that going, because that's a really fun character to play, and I'd love to get back to playing Sindricus.
So what did you like about that the most? When you say fun, was it because of scripting or because of how it was on set?
Well, I mean, really both of it. I mean, I'd never been a part of a project where the script was so out there um, in terms of like fiction and fantasy. But also the set was a lot of fun. I mean, everybody really becomes kind of a family, and plus the character, you know, I get to dive into a character that I've never played before. I've never played that sort of character before.
Uh-huh.
And so I was kind of channeling my inner McConaughey from Dazed and Confused type, you know, uh, type persona. And plus the costumes were all crazy costumes. And, you know, that's what helped you get into the character. Cause for me, I'm the kind of guy that I need to know what the character is going to look like first. That's like one of the
Okay.
first things I do, is I need to make sure I know what he looks like, so that way I can choose how he talks, how he walks, and you know, and then kind of look at the words on the page from there. You know, so that it just helps me get into the mindset a little better. And so so with that, it was very easy to get into that kind of mindset because of everything that he was wearing and what he looked like. And you know, he was the kind of guy that he didn't really care what other people thought. He was very much an individual. And yeah, that was very, very fun to play.
Do you think that character being individualistic can carry over to us as people in the way that we should feel about ourselves?
Yeah, I think so. I've always been the kind of guy that always wanted to be a little different. You know, I mean, that was even from when I was younger. You know, down to whatever people were wearing. You know, I always wore something just a little different, or you know, in the style of basketball that they were playing or whatever. I always played just a little bit different, and I always I've always tried to have my own thing. You know, I never want to be a copycat. I never want to be a, you know, a clone, or have somebody say, "Oh, you remind me of this person."
Uh-huh.
No, I want to remind you of me, you know? And so, so yeah, so I think it is important that people have an individual, you know, an individual mindset in terms of, you know, we're all unique human beings. So why not, you know, why not thrive in that, right? Why not find your uniqueness and just run with it?
I
So,
love it. I absolutely love it. Now, you have some other projects that you're working on, and one of them you are working on as a producer.
hmm um, Well, yeah. So there's a short film that I produced on. It's called Ever After, um, and very proud of that. Jeff Kapp wrote it and directed it, and um, it's a very personal project for him. It's the story itself is very personal to him, and so I was very honored to be able to work on that project, and it'll actually be at the Royal Star Film Festival on the 14th, as well as the Sioux something festival, but it's up in Sault Ste. Marie here in Michigan, and so it's been getting a lot of praise at a lot of different festivals. I mean, just because it's a very real story, it's a very relatable story. I'm not going to give too much away because it is on YouTube, and if I say too much, then it'll, there's no point watching it. But
yes.
But it is very, very good. And then I'm also going to be producing and acting on a project. It was written by Nolan Bryan, and Jeff is going to be directing again. And like I said, when we hit it off, I mean, we've been doing a lot of different projects together now because of Scapegoat. So that's really been really fun. Shane Chancey's going to produce, and then also my cousin who's an actor, he's going to be also acting in it with me. And his production company is going to be coming on. So Axel Harney, he'll be on it. So it'll be kind of a family affair too, which is cool. Because he and I have always wanted to work together. And so that one, the working title right now is called Storage. We're not sure if we're going to keep it that, but we've got the first draft of the script. We've got a meeting toward the end of the month on the 25th that we're going to go through and kind of pitch some ideas of things we might want to change in the script, and try to nail down what we want that second draft of the script to look like. And we hope to have the final draft by the end of September. So we'll take all of our ideas back to Nolan and let him kind of go at it. But because Nolan's in Canada, so the writer, so he's and he made a great script. So he took Jeff's idea and just kind of ran with it. So I'm really excited about that project specifically. We look to be in pre-production by the end of the year. So we'll start looking at casting, and we'll start looking at finding locations, finding budget, obviously, because that's the biggest part really of pre-production is finding a budget. And that's always the hardest part. But yeah, I mean, it's a great story. It's kind of a cop drama, like a crime drama. And it flashes back between the 1990s and now. So we're going to have, everything in the 90s, we're going to have a lot of really cool things from the 90s that, that will place in the sets and everything. And, so yeah, that project I'm really, really stoked for.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Let me ask you, when it comes to acting and producing,
mm-hmm.
How do you feel the difference is for you with how far you've come?
I think if you were to ask me to act and produce on this project 4 years ago, I would have had no idea what I was doing. I would have just been like, oh yeah, cool, sure. And thinking, I guess I got to do something, but I don't know what, so I'll just kind of figure it out on the way. But now, because I'm very much an observer, so anytime I'm on set, I'm always talking and observing to people, whether it's, the key grip, whether it's one of the producers, whether it's, the lighting technician, or whoever it may be. I'm always trying to learn, as much as I can on set, and trying to learn, each person's place on set and what, why they're doing what. Why is this light going here? Why is the camera, what's the angle here for? What are you trying to get out of this? What's the framing? And so I think because of all that, and because I've had some experience on set now, I am able to put on, two hats. And also I'm a very hands-on person anyway. And I like to try to do as much as I can for whatever project that I'm working on, just because, this is my life. This is my passion. And so, I want to try to help make whatever I'm doing get as big as it can possibly get, because I want as many people to be able to see it as possible. And so, so with producing, it helps because I can I can have a say in things, but I can be a little bit more I can be more collaborative with, with the guys. And, I'm more so speaking with Shane and Jeff. And then, and also I can speak with like Sarah Bishop, who I believe, is going to be, she's going to be the wardrobe, and the costume and the set designer. So she'll be, I'll be able to speak with her about some things that might be good for the sets, for like the 90s filming portions and all that stuff. And so, yeah, it's just, I'm still by far not anywhere near where I want to be in terms of, the knowledge that I have and all that stuff. But I think that I've definitely learned a lot more just in the last couple of years, just by working. And I mean, you can go to acting classes, and I still think those are great, and you can study and study and study, and that's great. But I personally think the best learning tool, is just being on set and learning from people who actually know what they're doing, and that work hard and really just bust their tail to get the best product every day.
I actually agree with you on that. I think education is really important. You can learn a lot, but getting in the hands-on experience and being able to really feel it, see it, hear it, it really makes a lot of difference. And so, I mean, getting the principles, of course, is important so that you can apply the principles. But again, now let me ask you, so you have the difference between acting and then producing. Taking what you have come from with theater and applying it now, is there differences there, or is it something that just kind of integrates pretty well?
I think they're very different. Theater and film, they're very, very different in the sense of theater, everything's big. Even small, very intimate moments on stage have to be big to be able to, for the audience to be able to receive it and for them to be able to pick up on it. I've always been better at the little things, the subtle things, which is why I think I feel more comfortable with film, because that could pick up on that. But in terms of it translating, I think the prep work that I've learned through theater has helped me with film, in the sense of going through every word, going through, what is my character trying to say here? What's he trying to get across? What's the relationship between the other characters for him right now in this moment? And, I think also it's helped with my comfortability, because, I mean, when it comes to to stage stuff, I love it, and I'll probably get back to it at some point, but I would get so nervous before a performance, and I would get so like I couldn't eat hours before. I'd have to like isolate myself for, like 5 minutes before the show time, because I'd have to just like kind of calm myself down and like settle myself in. And I always hated that feeling, but with film, you get multiple takes, and you get, you do have that room to try things. It's not just a one and done, on the day. So I think it allowed me to really relax. I think with doing film or doing theater really helped me to relax more for film.
That's a really interesting thing to talk about, because we live in a very immediate society, and even with podcasting and other things, you have a lot of live stream, even Facebook live stream, YouTube live stream, Twitch, all of these different things. And I know when I was doing live stream, I shouldn't say live stream, but live radio, there is a different sense, because you have in the back of your mind, there are certain things that I cannot say or certain things that I cannot do, because if I make a mistake, there is no room for error. I cannot go back and change it. And the beauty of film, like you said, is there is room for error. You can go back, there's editing, you have post-production that can do things and make it better. And I do think that there is a little bit more confidence in that, because you can always say, let's do that again, because I think I can do a little bit better with that, or I can deliver this in a little bit better way, you know, with those kinds of things. So I have to agree with you in that. And I know a lot of people who love doing that. And the one thing about it is you do it and you get it done. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, okay, I got it done. But I really value Screen in the fact that it's there. What you do doesn't go away. It's kind of evergreen, if you will, not in the sense that some of the things isn't dated, but it doesn't go away. It's there.
Yeah.
And so I really do love that. Do you have an embracement for social media and those who would be following you on social media?
Are you saying in terms of like, what are my thoughts on social media?
Yeah, so are you encouraging fans to follow you on social media and stay abreast of everything that you've got going?
Oh yeah, definitely. I am on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at pharns194. So it's PHARNS 194. There's no E. And then I'm also on Facebook as well. It's at official P Harney. And then also my fiance and I also have a YouTube channel. So that's Sam and Patrick, and we talk about a bunch of different things and vlog a little bit. It's a very new channel, so so we don't have much content on there yet. But I think social media is good, but I'm never one to, and I never will be one to just put everything on there all the time in terms of just my daily stuff. I think it's important that actors maintain a certain level of mystery, just to be able to maintain, the ability to jump in a character, and when people watch it, they go, "Oh, he's so and so," not, "Oh, that's Patrick Harney in this movie." You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think social media is very, very good for marketing, and that's typically what I use it for. Is if I've got a project that I'm doing, I promote it on that, or any shows that I might be on, like this one, then I'll promote that, but I don't really dive much into my own personal life on there anymore, just because, again, I want to maintain some certain level of mystery, and that's not an ego thing or a narcissistic thing. That's typically that's honestly just to help my career. Because I feel like if you're too accessible on there, then you lose some of that ability to really dive into a character without anybody picking at you, being like, "Wait a minute, though I can tell that's you."
Yes. Yes. That's a good point. I think we do allow too much to be out there, and especially in the sense that you just mentioned, because you want to be able to do a number of different things and not give away everything too. So this is pretty exciting. And I like that you are accessible on a lot of different platforms, so that you can be able to reach the marketing ability and all of the different venues that people are out there. And I know that there's quite a few of them out there, and four big ones, and you're there. So this is really good, because I think with where you're at and your proven track record from just going from Pulsar Award to going into extra work, even being on a music video, to a lead role, to directing, producing, and now dabbling into the writing, which you're going to, I'm sure, end up doing even more than that.
Yeah.
It's just you are progressing. And I think that as the audience is seeing this and embracing everything that you're doing, they're going to follow you, and your career is going to go very, very far, and you're going to just gain a huge a huge audience that is going to end up propelling you too, because that support system, like we talked about in the very beginning, is just going to continue to take you to places that you never thought were possible. And I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the kind words. That was very, very nice of you. So thank you.
Yes, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in to another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille. As we talked about today, not only does Patrick have a lot going on for him, he shared some insight with some things that are really important. The support system that we have can really take us places. The dedication, hard work also can take us places. We can never give up on our dreams and really know what we have, we can really make a difference. So keep pursuing those things. Don't stop. Listen to that internal voice that you have, and continue to just develop the things and skills and your own uniqueness. Don't make yourself a blueprint of everybody else, that same copy, carbon copy. And as he said, what it was ever so true, clone. You don't need to clone yourself. All of these things will take you where you need to go. So make sure you share this episode with everybody that you know, all of the family that you have, friends, colleagues, everybody you know on social media, everybody that you don't, and make sure that you connect with Patrick Harney. Thanks for tuning in.